Called James Liddy, a memoir. James Liddy was a creative writing instructor I took 2 classes from at San Francisco State way back in '68. He was a native of Ireland, County Roscommon, a poet and a barrister. He held classes in a small cottage on Waller Street in The Hague. He liked my work and we became friends. He was honest in his criticism of my poetry. "Oh no, Wally, they're an ego trip," he would say of some rivals. Stan Rice, the late Stan Rice, was one of his rivals. "That was a pale goblet stem of a boy." "A pale goblet stem of a boy indeed. Decadent rubbish, Wally." He was honest with me concerning my poetry. "That was bad, Wally," he said of one of my poems that tried to be mystical in an Eliot-esque way but ended up being vague and semi-nonsensical.
All right. Woo! Great.
Cinco de Mayo. An electric whale sighs through the wall. Triumphant pizzicato travels like a snake along the traffic, parks up to the quiet ghost of a different muse. Cupid's lips arise to the dance of flashing flamenco heels. Shout ole, senors y senoritas, in the smoky quiet of the lateness of the afternoon, of the torpid, sullen flamenca, passing into the lateness of the cobra-like coilings into the suffering evening. Senoritas, throw a rose from your lace mantilla to the cold gaze of the matador. Muleta poised under his chin in the hot afternoon bull ring, bowing and scraping for a kill. The muse can make me lonely. Obsequies buzz around the forest like old trees of appropriate seasons. I wake to the bark of the beasts of wood. Clouds speak of expanding storm after storm, terrible beauty to make a terrible christening of autumn, as I walk around the always new experience of trying to please the noisy jungle refrain of the exaltation of blues. Sunday 7. I was in and out of our time. I jumped from the train. Another Sunday. Rain made my eyes blur. Speak of mine to the sun-spilled chimes, an hour or so to gain of drinking again in Spain. Climbing up gargoyles to sublime excesses of the cap and bells. Gaudiamus igitur. All sing to the sea. We wait for ants to cast their spells here and there. Leaves of green peace, stars stare upward with eyes of tears, eyes of stars, as half-mad tenants pour from bars. Sunday 7. I'm between a vague promise to the park of trees and paths, out of the reach of the wrath of Muse Calliope's sharper demises, to dog-eared flowers and surmises of her happy vanity that hath more thorns and thistles than math. And love I love has no more surprises than a beautiful girl who has written to her love proud verses, charging across the page. She is smitten with rage and grief, curses trying to please God's crumpet. Fair princess, fair maiden, thou strumpet. Mars and Scorpio. Dark gray clouds. Fair Paris dragged through the streets of Troy. The head of Agamemnon impaled on a pole. Brave Achilles sulks in his tent, sword and buckler hanging from the shadows of a dark sun. as a beautiful Jewish woman saunters into the library as a death-like old crone. The proud give their prosthetic apparati to a Trojan horse, but succeed in getting shafted like a nude flagpole sitter. Radical politics and war are cut from the same steel cape and are making the same scene. Death and mass confusion follow Paraprometheus to his island of aloneness and aloofness, talking like Auden in his cell of himself. Okay, Joy Wooden Diadem. A box within a box, a play within a play. Your mind a set of wooden sticks that go by 2 by 2. Hip hop, hip hop. I think, I thought. Who is munching, lunching, and crunching? It was bad form to commit a solecism. This poem, a mad solecism hiding in the dark mummy wheat that cannot say it was bad form, searching for its karma. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. We're done, bro. All right. Thomas Mann.
M-A-N?
M-A-N-N.
Betty Davis?
Never
Oh,
mind.
no, she couldn't come.
No, the singer, not the actor.
Oh, I think she's coming. Alistair Crowley.
Jane
That takes
Fonda?
us to Ginny looks like Garbanzo Gonzo.
No, it's not Garbanzo. Gulag. Gallo.
Oh, Jimmy Gulag, sorry. Gulagonzo. Thank you. Give me this round. What's more to the Greek?
This is it.
Hello. Hey, this is fun.
It's a good money.
That's good. This is called When War Sleeps.
What?
Iran was lovely until we came along. Savaki thuggeries, the Shah, dirty fake commies, Mossadegh elected very nicely. Clement the Roosevelt. Persia, you say, imbecile. Do you still say Constantinople, Burma, Fu Manchu, the Qing, Q-I-N-G dynasty? You can't even pronounce Q-I. Iran has 100 billion U.S. in Class A banks overseas. Their mistake. You put your money outside your house, you're going to lose it. To put is one thing, to call it back is another. Iran has sold its atomic bomb future. My God. North Korea has one, or on a rocket. Pakistan could blow them both up. India as well. General Electric kept one for their own security ever since Nagasaki, so they wouldn't have to clean the Hudson anymore. Or poof, there goes New York. Bitter. My weird Uncle Billy has one on remote in a barn in Dakota. This is to prevent traffic tickets on his trips between the fracking sites that he owns. He's always in such a rush. We only killed 100,000 people in Nagasaki, 10 times more than that in Mesopotamia. They invented irritation, remember? Uncle Billy holds up his remote at a rookie cop and says, "Do you actually want to be responsible for this radioactive dust cloud over Chicago?" He says, "Only if Chewy wins," the cop says. Uncle Billy ponders, calls his bank. Does he want Wrigley's or tobacco? Can you sell me a mother country? I'm sick of the fatherlands. My Uncle Billy is a black sheep to the sheeple of Dakota. We'll have none other. Given the suffering of the Jewish people for 5,000 years, even longer than the Kurds, Sioux, Cheyenne, Navajo, Sauk, Ottumwa, Nez Perce, Billy Pierce, Apaches, Geronimo, who killed bin Laden, Texas, Rome, Armenia, Charleston, Mobile, Kingston, Kyrgyzstan, can you even spell that for me? The Asian heartland, the goal of all wars, hope of mankind's rulers of future world domination, as yet never practiced. Z. Biggie and his children forced to work at government jobs now. But Genghis Khan, he had the heartland on his way to the blue-eyed Poland, went right past it, right through it, gave it back. Romance of War. Hemingway killed that ideologue. And Romance Nightingale. Remember her. Gone, run away, or lost. You'll need a face for romance. What a slaughter. Why is Africa the only innocent nation? Home of man. Birthplace of suffering? War loses to everything but war. Only war can win war. And peace rules when war sleeps.
Thank you. What he read reminds me of a saying an old friend of mine has. My friend says, war supports everyone's troops. Or death supports everyone's troops. Something like that. Yeah.
That's true.
The Grim Reaper supports everyone's troops. That's how it is. Sorry about that. Clyde Always is coming up now. Get your ears ready. This young individual.
Wearing my eyes.
Oh, yeah, it's ready to go.
All right. Once upon a time, there was a realm of existence known as the universe. And within this universe was a tiny blue speck of dust called the whole wide world. And upon this world was a veritable infestation of creatures known as human beings. And these creatures loved nothing better than to be distracted by these things called stories. And it all started innocently enough with some ooga boogas and some ba-ba-bops, but before long, they created concertos and stage plays, printing presses, moving pictures, and eventually all hell had broken loose. As tiny electrons zoom, zoom, zipped across glowing screens that were everywhere the creatures looked. But tonight, folks, tonight we will reel it all back to where it all began, with some ooga boogas and some ba-ba-bops. If you don't know me, my name is Clyde Always. And I'm a local cartoonist, poet, juggler, dreamer, adventurer, inventor, sculptor, stand-up comic, still walker, utopian revolutionary, and I managed to wait some tables in my free time. And without any further ado, I present to you Trampin' in Marin, by me, yours truly, Clyde Always, and it goes a little something like this. Oh, the city's so nice, oh, the city's so fair, oh, the city's so awfully bright. And the city's my home, it's so weird, the pair, yet I yearn for the darkness of night. So I grabbed on my pack and I stuffed in some gear and some peanuts and blackberry pie. And I lovingly wrapped up my woolens so dear and I kissed my old lady goodbye. Then a bus full of folks with their heads in their phones and another one full of them too. And the streets and the bricks and the walls and the stones and the wires so tangled in blue. And the bus made a stop and I gathered my stuff and I let my old boots have the dirt. And they ate up the bridge on the brink of the bluff and I rolled up the cuffs of my shirt. And I flew up the hill on a dragon of dust, and I sucked up a gallon of wind. And I laughed, and I danced, and I jumped, and I cussed, and I winked at the moon, and he grinned. And a buttery fly was upon my left eye, my boots was just kicking a stone. And the blistering rays of the sun in the sky made my whistle as dry as a bone. And a fluttery bird was so singing a song from the top of an emerald tree. But my lips were too dry to go singing along, so I listened as mum as could be. Then I came to a grove and I had me a drink and I whittled some wood to a point. And a squirrel with his eyes so much blacker than ink came and sat while I gnawed on a joint. And I zipped off the trail and I stuck out my thumb on a ribbon of yellow and black. And I waited right there for a pickup to come so that I could just jump in the back. And a dude come along and he picked me right up. And a gal and a grumpy old man. And a couple of kids with the scruffiest pup and then Jenny and Johnny and Jan. And I came to an ocean. All angry and gray. And I let my old pack have the sand. And I climbed up a cliff and my face in the spray and the edge of the earth in my hand. And I screamed out my sorrows, I screamed out my strife, and the breakers replied with a hiss. And they served me a dinner of wisdom and life, and they poured me a goblet of bliss. And I laid down my head in the cavern of dreams, and I dreamt of a blanket of peace. So woolly and knit with some love in the seams and had nary a wrinkle or crease. And I dreamt of my sweetie all warm in a bed, and I knew she'd be dreaming of me. And I woke with the dawn and I packed and I said, it's my sweetie I'm going to see. Thanks everybody, tune in next time. It's Friday night, Happy International.
Thank you so much.
Not much.
Stephanie Manning is next. Give her a nice round. Then we have inside James, Daniel, that's me, Karen, Justice, and our feature. We have a few more people who walk in. We'll take care of that. Due course. Yes, dear.
Do you have a ballad on there somewhere?
Yes, you're up to the break.
Okay.
But that's fine. We'll work on it. I was wondering how to say it, 'cause I couldn't read it because my eyes.
Just the best.
Yeah.
The last half.
I'm fine. Oh, while she's paused, this table right here.
Damn!
Oh, that's not
No violence in hippie house.
Yeah. This is
Oh, that's where I
the
saw the most violence.
one-page guide to the San Francisco Poetry Open Mics that I know of. Calendar on one side, data on the other. This is Sally Love Saunders. Everyone's a poet's a great thing to go to. I hope to go to that. If you say, I like this place, I want to come back, but I want to remember where it is, all the information's there. And this is an advertisement for La Promenade. Even though the date on this has passed, this gives you information about the place. It's the first Saturday of every month. So there you go with that. And then you say, who's this guy? When can I hear him again? This is me. And where I'm going to be on the 20th. Information there. Follow. And then this little square thing that we got from. Wait a minute.
That's salt, you know, we know.
Amplified, right? And that gives you information about them. So I just want to make sure I got that in there. All right. Yes. Thank you so much. Give her a round of applause as she comes up here. As we for a minute. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It's called baggage. Tough sucker, so heavy baggage. Pull it into old age or carry it around on your back. The baggage of your younger days, clever devils concealing it behind a positive attitude, believing it's invisible, keeping mum about it. But slowly, it ekes out of the pores and into conversation. And guess what? That which was so cleverly concealed becomes your very definition, defining your physical pain, every wrinkle in your face. Oh my God, hold your breath no longer. It will only lead to death.
Right.
This one I wrote yesterday, seeing the storm clouds heading north from the train as it rolled along the edge of the North Bay, which is quite beautiful, actually. And it's called Send Your Grave to Napa. When the world is getting to you and you've had enough of love's despair, send your grave to Napa. When you've counted all your money and you still find yourself broke, send your grave to Napa. When you've been to the doctor and he says, lose weight, stop smoking, no more booze, oh boy, send your grave to Napa. When even your cat rejects you after you've offered him your best, send your grave to Napa. When your coworker says insulting things and shrugs it off, send your grave to Napa. Because Napa is where the weather goes. Napa is where the storm clouds gather. Napa is where the crazy feelings flow. Send your grave to Napa. Here's one today. This is all. I was riding on the train. Sorry if you get sick on the train in Poland. All I've been seeing is two snow geese. Anyway, it's called the two snow geese. Two snow geese, a couple I suppose, float beside tracks along the Carquinez Straits. And what brings these lovers to the streets? It could be the abundance of fish carried along by the 17 rivers that run through the straits. It could be shelter from the icy north. It could be a lack of predators in this region close to settled towns. But I think it is the sheer beauty of the hills along the windy watercourse, the wide, unimpeded view of the sky, and contemplation of the cliffs that rise in the county to the north, that fills their soul with peace and encourages the building of a great nest where they will stay a while and teach their fledglings to fly and contemplate the great flow of fresh water as it pours down to the bay and out to the salty ocean. And so the bond with the earth and all its parts that fit together by some amazing grace despite the troubles of the world and wait for the waning moon
Stephanie Manning. Wonderful stuff. Our Canadian poet. And now, Inside is back. So give him a nice round. We haven't seen him yet. In a month of Sundays. Maybe not a
That means
month.
I've never seen him.
Oh, you've never seen
This is
him?
my first time.
Oh, well, you're
I'm in
this man, he's a poet who knows how to write poetry like nothing you've ever read before.
I call it
He tells me to shut up, and I do.
New album, Living in the Poetry Hotel, free, samplers. You got $2 for the artwork, no problem. If you don't, it's free. I got a lot of them made to give out. So I'm going to do a piece that I just wrote, and I just wrote the music. So if you guys vibe with it, I'll record it. So let's see what happens.
Where your test case? I'm just asking. I'm fine with that.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, good. This will be cool.
This piece was called Grace Training. These words are not my own. They were assigned to me. The reward for over excessive will has become blind to me. Sitting in the midst of powerlessness, without appetite for result or conclusion, embraced by a passionate neutrality. The notorious try to sway me into reaction, but instead I am enlisted by the higher wings of consciousness, and the next move is not a mystery. A refusal to be baited by power plays that infuse a desire for triumph over the weak is necessary for me to continue walking with integrity, even if the reward is not so easily obtained. My head still searches for nurturing, so deeply camouflaged within a fear-generated momentum to chase rainbows and unicorns. While the right-wrong patrol is in hot pursuit, trying to recruit me, and the Got Your Number committee is still in session, creating push, pull, and take addendums, which cannot be governed by law. You see, for the hurt, we lean into their pain. Yes, I am and shall remain a lender of benefit without expectation of return. For as a harvester of hope, the job is to express the will to heal them, not kill them. See, this heart lies in the knowing that sitting still is a tool, an action that will help me sustain compassion, keeping liberation within reach for all involved in life. Because the best example of freedom is when it's used to free others. Hesitant to confess becomes less, flexible from our adamant version to conversion, and the choices of idealistic reflections being provided by the many forms of God do not become hard anymore. See, these words are not my own, they were assigned to me. The reward for over excessive will has still become blind to me. As we process any challenge before us, progress can be measured by our lack of need for deep comprehension. For the greater good shows no favoritism. Everyone has a chance to elevate. For our duty is clear. As harvesters of hope, we try to heal them, not kill them.
Nice.
I just wrote it, just did the music.
No, you got a couple minutes.
I got a short one.
Is that you on the piano?
Yeah, me and my band wrote it.
Wow.
And so I'm gonna record it if it sounds like something recordable. I just bought a house, and my real estate agent, because I got lucky, and I'm in the music business. I've been in it for 20-some years, and maybe I had my last deal, my last big deal. So I said, well, I better spend this money somehow. So I bought a house, and the agent was so spiritually infused about getting me a good deal. The best way I could say thank you to her is to write a poem. So the name of this piece is a short piece. It's called Life Changer, because she definitely changed my life with the purchase of the song. It's called Life Changer. Yet it be for season, reason, or forever. The emotional imprint made by a life changer will be distinctly unique as a drop of water, seen small by first glance, but forever having an irreplaceable role in the waves of change. Strong, but still, a gentle sense of compassion abiding. Abundant, but not overbearing. Movement, but not too fast. Reshaping the confidence of those who want to live a life of elevated desires. You are conscious without threat of consequence. You make us want to dance as we celebrate this melodic flow lifted by the vibrations of a welcoming, sincere, unquestionable desire to serve. You are the chosen instrument that makes insecurity disappear, leaving a trail of bright, precious stones, evident through the smiling faces of those who you have chosen to observe. And you hear me, life changer. I am a believer, because my trust in you has given me a triple grace laid return, well embraced in a knowing that my joy is your joy. Blessed be to the life changer, a true bearer of loving grace. Free CDs, like I said, take one with you.
All right. See him at the break, or when you have the chance. All right, James is next. I can't. James Hart. Is that right? Did I get it right?
James Weaver?
Okay. Yes, there's a James. But I don't have my glasses, so I'm guessing with the second name. So I'm sorry. What's the second name then?
Weaver.
Weaver.
And he drove here without his glasses.
I know I came on the beauty. I got a free pass. They don't bother me anymore. It's the bazooka in my back pocket. Sorry.
Alright, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2. Alright, anyway, my girlfriend talks during sex. She just called me from the hotel. And I said, if he ain't cool, don't bring him around either. Anyway, I'm here all week. I have this thing I wrote. It's called The Message. And it's based on some stereotypical patterns of thought that a lot of people haven't escaped yet. So anyway, this is it. The message I have can no longer wait to hold them and captive brings anger and hate. Volatile emotions, sealing their fate. Set them free before it's too late. Slavery no longer an issue of race. Get on the line and they'll put you in place. Hide from the public what you must face and labor for wages. Such a disgrace. Wake up and set them free. Wake up and set them free before they rise up in rage. Tear on the cage, build up the stage, perform a new song as one we are strong. If you seek the solution, the problem will break. If you seek only profit, it's a mistake. Drugs, money, addiction, and crime employ judges, DAs, and house in the time. The system we have is a criminal scam ran by men who don't give a damn. Wake up and set them free. It's kind of short. Anyway, I have one more short one, and anyway, I don't know if I named it or not. I'm kind of tired, so I can't remember. But anyway, I'm talking about the undeserved punishment from the fucked up government, social rehabilitation. That's what fucking the nation. They've been taking the people and fucking up their minds, and if they don't with the quarter, they get put up in irons. There's no give and take, but take and take. A system of greed, it's a big mistake. You can fight for peace, but you might get destroyed. But if you fight for money, you might get employed. Now, the man with the badge is here to protect, but because of this man, many lives were wrecked. Fuck the system. Let it fall. Take the freedom back and take it all. That's it.
All right. James Weaver. This is your first time here, right?
I've been here before. It's been a long time now.
Okay, let's treat him like he's a first timer. Watch out for that wire. There you go. You watch out for it. Good. All right.
We'll show more of that space.
Yes.
All right. And now, it is, wrong thing. I am before you, or in front of you, depending on your perspective.
So,
Usually I ask a question to help me pick which poems I pick because I don't like being responsible for which poems I pick. But I've forsaken that. I picked these two here. And thank you, James, because this poem segues after yours. It has a relationship. This is called For a Friend, a Child, a Lover, or Spouse. And it was meant to be written at a wedding, written for a wedding at some point, but I never went to that wedding. I missed out on a big one. Anyway, so for a friend, a child, a lover, or spouse. May the stars gently guide you and hope see you through. May you bear up and be fruitful, and your word be known as true. May your grace through kindness ever tell, and have the vision to speak the truth as well. May you have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you speak for the poor and to their good, always give the love you should. May your heart remain in peace, so that its giving will never cease. May you be healthy, hearty, and whole, have illumination bless your soul, and have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you be the hero of your life, and your legends all be told. May you have the comfort of a hearth when your aching body's old. May your travels be received right well. Enjoy your life wherever you dwell. May you have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you always pour when you share. The muse commune with you as well. May your arts address this world's affair. May you love and always tell, and have the insight to see your soul eternally free, singing life's song, so that we'll all see our souls eternally free.
so you can see how that would fit in.
Okay, so this one's a little bit different. I wish I had my, but I can read it because I've read this before. I did wrote it.
I love that running from. Sorry about that.
Lord forgive him, he's only here. Jazz so low. I mean to say jazz so low, jazz is from the moment that it is to the moment that it was. Is. Dig? See, I know I can scat like a cool cat and be where it's at. Bee bit bop, the bee bop, the boo bop, the bin bap, bit up, bit bap, bit 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 bit, ding ding, zing zing zing. But being up here on this stage, scooping up something here off this page, I mean to say this is for you, not just for me. See, and I can be taken out of my hat and not be all that. So I'll make my anthem both sweet and uplifting until your soul is light and drifted up to that cerulean sky, to the Lord Himself parts those glory clouds and says, my, hallelujah. But that old boy can play it on the fly. But to get back to it, jazz, you see, this poor narrator can hardly hope to give you its meaning without seeming dope, without saying those things that someone else has said, or because I don't want to be demeaning or talking out of my head, but I can ask you real slow, ask you if you really know what it is that mixes up heat, beat, and beguile, what blends enchantment with soul and style. And you better keep in mind that you best be where you're at, because mama ain't never gonna allow no double talk up in here, and that's that. See, it's an honest space, a free space, a space of space so gracious. Well, I'd like to go on, but I couldn't begin to cast a spell, so you out there listening, well, you'll have to hear real well. Some of y'all see my point already, my disguise being so thin, but I'll try for you anyway to make it a win-win, and I know you know that you all want to go 8 miles high, hip-hopping over the globe so fly, making it here and there at the same time. You wonder where. I know, you know, I know what I'm talking about. It isn't just chants or the drummer's chops that break up the dance, the brass and the strings beating up their things while the singer lets loose with the wails that really, really tells the tale, even if it's still iggy, it signifies nothing, or being like me, kind of pale. But what gliding on the moonlight does, what swimming in the ancient sea was, what dream drifted in a daze is, what drifted into a haze is. Jazz is the sound heard everywhere. You carry it with you when you hum soft air. I mean, this is jazz with a capital J or with all caps all the way. And you can be skinny or playing it fat, and sometimes it strains over the old Hazarat or colors up the sky, clouds high over Bali, or gleams like Xanadu's mirage as you blink back tears from the shimmering light off the Rub al Khali. It whispers over the Solomons in Bangalore. It echoes off the Rift Valley. It covets the great Pacific shores. It's the wavering light upon Tut's pyramids, the Transamerica or Notre Dame spires. It's the sound of this age. It's ever new. It conspires. So when you hear it, when I hear it, it's it. The bee's knees, the cat's PJs, a drunken jackass with his pants full of fleas. So ships roll at the sea with a scroll, clouds surmount the mountains in the cold, and everything's getting old. But jazz is what it is from the moment that it is until it is. Now, to get back to it, think of everything you've ever heard, every dream you've ever tasted, and give me the word, just so it's not about the makeups and breakups, Moo and the moon, ancestral chains, or the myriad of mystified brains, just so it's not the blank look on every stranger's face, the disguise of the ordinary, a cut to the chase, the wrinkle in reality, the lovelorn thing, the changing times of nothing changing, and the sense of it all being one bright thing. No. It's not ordinary, not in the least. That's what I mean about jazz. It's an ever-loving feast. I mean jazz with a capital J. And then toss in some laughter. Because jazz is what it is, and all that comes after. Thank you.
Little Jazzy Laddie. Oh yeah, I was going to get you.
You guys gonna leave? Arthur Sheridan's here.
Huh?
Arthur Sheridan.
Yeah, I know. I saw.
All right. We have some people coming in, so I'll have to take care of all these things.
Karen, then Justice, then our teacher.
So Karen, come on up. You haven't seen her in a little bit of a while. We got people coming in.
Well, you know, I'll try to do my best.
You gentlemen was gone.
Well, you know.
Brian Wilson sounds delighted, infusing my brain with visions of riding the surf alongside Santa Monica Pier. The snowflakes cling to your mustache and do not melt. My fingertips stay numb, encased in finest deerskin gloves I shoplifted in Yellowstone last summer. We are dancing like fairies under a wolf moon to the Japanese transistor radio in your pocket. Passing a pint of peppermint schnapps, caring less and less if anyone will stop when we remember to extend our thumbs, leaving Chicago to its legitimate Rat Pack lovers as the sky sheds frozen wisp of winter's dreams. Kantara. Her hair, they said, was the color of fire, except on nights of the crescent moon, when it embodied shadows of a storm-tossed sea, and she played her clarinet in front of Alfonso's, near where the road ends in Bucerias, and every man who heard it dreamed of smoke and iridescent pigeon wings, and woke compelled to drink 7 glasses of water, which did not dissipate the smoke or unquenchable desire for oranges. So he would spend hours searching the hills and the beach for bits of opal or turquoise, purple shells and crimson sea glass, which he knew he must tie in white linen to place in her basket when next she played. Of these small offerings, she would build her house. And this is a short prose piece, and I have no idea if it's going to become anything else. The night is cold. The wave is cold at 5,000 feet, even in the summer. The feeling of dry pine needles prickling her ass through her jeans as she sits with her back against the rough trunk is uncomfortable, but not unpleasant. She is hugging herself because the gray sweater is not nearly warm enough. Hasn't been since the sunset. The campfire and the sleeping bag are both inviting, but all three of the men who picked her up in the red Mustang have been drinking vodka mixed with Tang since right after their dinner of roasted hot dogs and canned pork and beans. She drank a little with him, and the shorter guy, Jim, she thought, played happy tunes on his harmonica. The vodka made her sleepy, and she crawled inside the tent, snug in the extra sleeping bag he had tossed her. But their voices became louder, and something in their laughter frightened her. She was cold down to her nerve endings, suddenly terrified by the realization of her vulnerability. She had known her father would stop slamming her head into the wall before an ambulance was needed, before there was evidence. Her mother said he was ill, but he was crazy like a fox. She had refused the last 3 times to give him the satisfaction of tears. When he left, she put on her sweater, took the $11.82 from her jewelry box, walked to the highway, going down the mountain from Flagstaff, and stuck out her thumb. The men, Jim, Bill, and Brett, said they were private detectives from Hollywood. They passed cans of beer around the car all afternoon and worked as one or the other shot at highway signs with small caliber pistols and hit them, or didn't. She knew they were lying, pretended to believe their office on Sunset Strip. She told them she was 20, hitching home to Tucson because her car had blown a piston on the way home from Colorado. They also pretended to believe. The noise from the campfire fades with distance, and now, watching the stars like ice crystals in the sky between the treetops, she hears a howl. It pulls a chord somewhere deep inside. She wants to throw her head back and join the song. Sounds not quite like a kayak. Then she catches peripheral movement in the shadows, first to the left, then in front of her. Her night vision focuses and they surround her. The pack, the timber wolves she had been taught were gone from these mountains decades ago. They keep their distance except for the leader. She wonders vaguely if it is male or female, can't tell in the dark. The wolf stops a mere 1.5 feet in front of her. She does not move. She feels strangely afraid and safe. They lock eyes for a moment. The pack vanishes as silently as they came. Jim, the one with the harmonica, shakes her shoulder. She must have dozed. Come back to the tent, he says softly. You'll freeze out here. We won't hurt you, honest. We're not that kind of people. His eyes look like the wolf's. Shivering, she lets him take her arm. Brett looks up. We were worried. Thought at first you'd just gone off to take a piss. They let her out on home the next morning beside Santa Fe Mission. Brett yells over his shoulder, look us up if you get to L.A.
Cameron Huff. I told you. A great read. All right. Justice is next, so give her a nice round as she comes up here. And our feature, my introduction for the feature.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Justin.
Our feature tonight is Patrice Hahn. She was the featured musician at this book release party for San Francisco Peace and Hope, and really elevated the day and gave me a chance to check out your heart face. It was very generous. So I thought I'd read the end of the foreword by Al Young, the former poet laureate of California. He has, let me get to the title, a 2-step forward with cadenza and coda. So I thought I'd read the coda. From all of the evidence we have, poetry doesn't begin as a medium for personal or subjective expression. Poetry is rooted in communion, rooted therefore radically. It has taken a long time for the globe narco marketplace to get us to buy the belief that each of us exists individually, hermetically, vacuum-packed, sealed. Remembering, celebrating, protecting, exercising, blessing, worshiping, transforming, evoking, controlling, praising, condemning, playing, praying, myth-making, storytelling, honoring. condemning, entertaining, and prophesying. Poetry covers it all. In all of our ancestral cultures, poetry, song, and dance stay inextricably linked. Iambic pentameter, a line of 5 heartbeats, curiously animates most blues lyrics in English. Listen and tap your food to B.B. King. The thrill is gone. So we talk about metrical feet when a poem's line doesn't come to a full stop, but flows over into a new line. We call this enjambment. Enjambment could mean leg over leg, how intimate. But then I'm old enough to remember how we actually used to dance with each other rather than at each other, the same way we used to reach and touch each other. Poetry and the other arts can save our planet. They can also rescue us from their fear-polluted atmosphere, now killing the world as surely as carbon emissions and feckless profiteering strangle living ecosystems. Like gradually rising frog boil degrees, greed is smothering the life force we share. Jump, bust a move, throw down. Hope, like peace, needs action to back it. Hope not only springs eternal, hope summers, hope winters, hope pictures, hope acts out, hope listens, hope dances, hope sings.
I know that was our backup keynote because we forgot to get organized with that. My bad.
So I went to a reading with Diane DePrima and Michael McClure. It was at the opening of La Commune Cafe and Bookstore in Oakland last November. She had a line that helped finish off my piece called Love Took the Sword Out of His Hand. It goes, love took hold. Brave warriors are not always fearless as women. Danny proved it with the racing of his heart. I laid my hand on his chest, felt his heart pounding a dozen drums, began encouraging him in whispers, echoing his shy kiss in my head. His fear left, his bravery returned. All I saw was a soft desire. I saw the same in him. Love took the sword out of his hand. Tracing my lips with his thumb, gently embracing and pulling me closer, a tender, sweet passion took over his perfect lips, forming perfect kisses on my mouth. His moans melting in my mouth. His kisses became so full, so passionate, as if his very life depended on it. He reclaimed his heart and surrendered. Love took the sword out of his hand. He surrendered, finding shelter in my arms. He surrendered to an ancient dance no one taught us. He surrendered, moved intuitively to a timeless dance, to the strength between his legs, to the softness between his thighs, to his little moans from the pleasure, to his crying out for me. I held him quietly, waiting for his will to stop revolving, then he wept in a husky voice with relief. His loneliness over, his isolation gone, love took the sword out of his hand.
Well done. Thank you so much. And thank you for the keynote. Oh, that's the best.
Turn up the volume. Somebody's got to turn up the volume.
Put some buttons up there.
Is this better? Is that better? Volume better? Yes?
I don't know. You're pretty loud anyway, so I'll just straight and see. I don't know. I'm so pissed off about the door.
Well, we got it figured out. There's a button on this side on the top. You're on the other side.
Take your 10 deep breaths this way. I know. Well, I'm in good company.
All right.
Yeah, he's mellow though. He'll, Mickey.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Thank
that's not
you.
good. Thank you.
Trying to
Thank you.
get
That
it in
was-
the
that
city
was
lights
really-
right now. City lights.
Oh,
Keep a quick thought.
all right.
Because they do not accept perfect bound books in the consignment. So I have to network my way in. Oh, look. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Inveigling, they call it.
Very
Yeah.
beautiful.
All right, so I'm going to introduce the feature for the evening.
Yeah.
Patrice Kahn. My favorite thing to do is I'm going to say a few words. She is great. But really, I met her first when she came here when was that? What was that? It was like an event here, was that?
About 5 years ago.
About 5 years ago. And I was like, wow, this person, beautiful musicianship and touch and caring. And then I come to find out, poet, singer, songwriter, musician, and a number of other things. So you're going to be in for a really nice treat here. I'm going to talk for a moment so while she gets arranged and organized, but it's really impressive to see how focused she can be and is. Now, do you want me to get out of your way?
No, you absolutely, it's beautiful.
Okay. So that's beautiful. Huh.
If I was
Anyway,
smart as you, I would have that.
so let you know how this goes while she's getting ready. After the feature performs, for a feature set is 20 minutes. After she is done, then we'll take a 10-minute break. Like I said, I'd like to encourage you to look at the handouts on there. There's lots of them that are useful. Oh, and I forgot this whole evening to mention that we do have an emailing list. I send something out once a week, and this is how you get on that emailing list by signing here. Did you get the email that I sent?
Yeah, man, it worked.
I changed the way you did it. I cheated a little bit.
Man, that's a really
So, but I figured if you got it, then it worked. Then everybody has it. So anyway, she's going to help me set up this microphone so I can do it the right way. And how do you want me to stand?
I just overwhelming with your beautiful.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just amuse yourselves for just a brief moment.
Amuse myself. So my favorite political joke. Anybody know what it is?
George W. Bush.
Thank you, George W. Bush. The gift that keeps on giving, sort of like STD.
Oh, damn.
Okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't insult STDs.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Anyway, I do go on and on about him. How do you go?
I don't know, we're going to see just a second.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure you're.
Yeah, we're right on.
Really?
Well, Ted's on the way.
Huh? I didn't recognize you until you smiled.
Oh.
I thought, who's that old guy over there? Not old.
I know.
And then you're smiling, oh, it's Pablo!
Yeah, who's that old guy's right?
I recognized you as soon as you came in. Mr. Arthur Sheridan, the shadow. Thank you. Do you want to sit? Don't you want to sit down or read some stuff? We got chairs. Don't stand on ceremony, or on my account.
Okay. This might work.
All right.
This might work. You get a headset, right? You might be smart.
Okay, so are you
There you go.
okay. Now we can give her a round of applause. She's ready to go. She's fine, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very special. Very, very nice.
Oh, and don't feel any pressure to be great.
No pressure.
No pressure. You better be great. You better be good or all gone. I'm so honored by your company. Thank you. Justice, thank you for mentioning San Francisco Peace and Hope. What a tremendous project that is.
A great,
Beautiful, beautiful art and poetry and writing to celebrate and to take our hearts and lift them up. And, yeah, give us.
Don't you do some of your playing in hospitals?
I do. I am the director of a small nonprofit called Healing Muses. It takes music into hospitals to and cancer centers and elder care centers to see if we can make a calmer, sweeter place for people to be not quite so afraid. Yeah. I'm lucky girl.
And should I make mention of this?
Yeah. You can do. That's another hat that I wear.
All right.
Yeah. I met Lake Tahoe for the first time last year. I'm not from here, and you should go there. The Blue Door. Hi, Alex. I came to the mountains for air, between red pines, a small space. On the third floor, there's a fireplace, and a pebbled landing where we dock the bed. You were at a party down the lake. There's a band, and a woman keeps shouting. The bride is barefoot. The groomsmen are playing volleyball. There are yellow torches in the sand. All night I listen. There is constant traffic noise and an unhappy dog in a cabin. The rustle of waves makes me stir. On the roof, magpies harass the world. I smell incense here. The sun is shining, and the lake is a blue door invented for this day. I am hungry. I'm hungry. Open the door. So, a couple of years ago, I did some work with a group that are influenced by the teaching of a Ghanese medicine man, a villager who was trained by his elders. And right now, his name fell out of my head, but I'll think of it soon. In the tradition, we are encouraged to use art to express our grief. Grief is our power place. Grief is something that's part of every life and every day. It's just part of it. We don't have to deny it. It's a building block. And by using it to build and to create, we feed our ancestors. And feeding our ancestors, we feed that which we stand on, which supports us. So we give them honor. We don't have to live in our grief. We just have to acknowledge it, bless it, let her go. And it builds beautiful things, right? It builds poems and songs and buildings and wondrous things. Which inspired this poem called Cling to the Rope. When we tip back, fall, head over heels into blackness, is not time to seek consent. We descend, spelunk the past, match sounds, not stories, light candles in hidden grottos, sight lost icons, fill the bowl, plunge arms to the elbows in tears and rock. We stand on the shoulders of them who built the world before. There is no safety net in the cave. Harness the surface. Climb down, hung by reality, no more glimpsed than remembered. The echoing dark sings back sobs. Rope roams harmonic discord. Here, hearts turn to coal. Dreams impenetrable granite. 1,000 songs hang from the stony ceiling. Not time to consider the return, yet whose tune will draw us up? Whose sobbing hold our heels, pull us down? Orpheo's tiny lyre, silent in a blue-collar living room. We can only hold tight, cling to that rope. I gave you a whole bunch of words. A whole bunch of words. Solitary, hoping, watching, seekers strive. Daily labor, death and taxes, compensation struggling on the line. Where's the refuge? Cool, deep water, sandy bottom, clear sunshine. In one hand is beauty, in one hand is grief. We are building altars to our breathing. So I had this experience lately of just being overwhelmed with all these memories. I don't know, I had 3 days I got to live in a little shed on a hippie farm on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington. And all these memories started coming up. There wasn't anything to do, but there was a bed and a harp and a little table in there. So every day I just wrote on it. This is called Sisters. I have one. There was a hot air vent in the middle of the floor. Don't stub your toe in the dark. Rush of mornings to stand over the furnace, belling our nightgowns with long, hot exhalations. In our shared room at the top of the stairs. Turn right. Unlinked bunk beds, catty-corner twins. Shared dresser at the equator. And you woke in the night. You had a vision, just like in Lives of the Saints we studied on Saturday morning catechism with Sister Ruth Ann, who taught piano, and Mrs. Thomas, our Girl Guide leader. I chose Therese, the little flower. A you were Lucy, the virgin, with her eyes rolling on a golden salver. Maybe that's why you saw her, floating, all white and shimmery, and so still, just standing there in midair and looking till you woke up and knew you were called to a life of holiness. Better stop smoking. Like finding the stash of Christmas presents early and being extra good, since you knew now you would get the Beatles album you wanted more than anything. Like giving it up for the souls in purgatory, now that you had an express passport to the pearly gates and the rose of paradise. She came most nights for a week, like Fatima, like Lourdes. Imagine your chagrin when her nightly station changed after Saturday morning chores, realizing the Madonna on the dresser fluoresced, a miracle of science and paint in the dark, which no prayers would ever influence. There were two visions, now I remember, both in the heart of the night. The Virgin was silent, but I heard the other. You were whimpering as my big sister never would, pinned to your pillow like a blue flannelette moth. There was snow and death on the ice, a crucifixion, terrible cold, teeth. We were 12. What can master fear? We said the rosary, Holy Mary, Mother of God, now and at the hour of our death. I waited with you for dawn. Daddy always walks in singing, wakey, wakey, rise and shine, flings open the curtains, get in your horse and let's go. Which is the spring on the road line? It's a long way to Tipperary. Visions require a certain tilt of the head, a willingness, a listening for the music of the spheres. It all goes round. sorry. If you still spoke to me, I'd tell you I believe in the Wizard of Oz. I'm watching. I'm hopeful. You, longing for the ordinary, settled for black and white. Kansas, Alberta. What does it matter? And you left the Madonna behind on the trash heap of fairy tales and sparkly red shoes. This is part of that same series, Little Brown Birds. After rain, gleaming small brown birds search the pavement. I cannot name them. I can recite the names, recall the faces of all my grade school teachers. Beloved Mrs. Collinson, haven of safety, the other Mrs. Thomas, Miss K. Hegerman of the fine penmanship, Madame Cartier, Mrs. MacDonald, the wretched Mademoiselle Etieu, dear Mr. Belknap, the preternaturally pale Mr. O'Connor, Miss Redpath, who afterward became Mrs. Carson. All gone now in a cloud of chalk dust. The little brown birds don't sing. They work steadily, then they fly away. Naming things. Me and Patrick hunt skinks under the front steps. When we find one, they're black and skinny, no bones, I think, maybe jelly on legs. They have round heads and toes, but they don't have teeth. Anyway, they hiss, but they don't bite. We show my mom. She hisses like a snake between her teeth. She says the skinks are shy and put them back, but we love them. We name them Blackie and Twitcher and Stinky Tail. It's probably only one skink, except I like to think they're a family under my steps. Patrick fingered the gas dial on the stove as the family left on vacation. Ladybird, ladybird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, your children alone. Almost burnt the house down. But no one got hurt. Patrick got a thumping. Ladybirds aren't even birds, they're bugs. And skinks are amphibians. Our moms calling us for dinner. Patrick, Patrick. My name's longer, so you sort of have to sing it. Patrice. At school, they call our front and back names. You have to answer here. They mean here. Are you listening? Miss A2 hates us. We have to account for our sins in a black book on her desk. 3 entries gets you 5 on each with the ruler. 3 5s gets you 15 with the strap. We're learning multiplication tables in wood and leather. On the first day of school, you learn the names people don't want to be called. Teacher has a list. Barry is Francis. And Owen is Arthur. I like Owen. Barry says he'll grind anyone that calls him Francis. He burns ants on the sidewalk with a magnifying glass. He pulls the tails off skinks. He'd get 15 if he was caught. Patrick and I don't tell him about the skinks under the steps. Names are different than name calling. You shouldn't call names without love in your mouth. Stinky Tail is okay for a skink name. My father was a corporal in the Canadian Air Force, which meant that we moved some, not a very great deal. So that the basement was the place that you stored everything, and where you stored the way that you would move to the next room. Saturday morning basement. Oh, and we lived in these things that are called PMQs, personnel married quarters. Personnel married quarters were built at the time of the Second World War. They've been paid for long since. but you still have to pay rent on them. They usually aren't insulated. The PMQ that I lived in Saskatoon had ice on the walls of the bathroom. You had to put a kettle full of boiling water in the tub before you could sit down, otherwise you'd get stuck. Gives you a certain amount of character. And also scarring. Saturday morning basement. Daddy's long hands, knuckles, warts, narrow fingers with their ridged nails, unfold day-old newspaper, line up one pair men's brogues, one pair wingtips, one pair laced ankle boots. Check soles for wear, remove laces. Briskly go over each piece with a plastic scrubber. Inspect for general damage. Choose the brass tin of black paste. Flip open the butterfly clasp. Choose applicator number 4, lollipop-headed, big bristle, alder, darkened by years of use. Dab wax and pigment, tin to brush, to toe, to heel, like dance steps. Choose small polish number 2, rectangular, horsehair, alder, palm-sized. Begin the rhythmic ka-cha, 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 slap of bristle on leather. Hummel. Hold each shoe with a tented hand, thumb to heel, fingers under the tongue, pointing toward the toe. A dull glow rises from the leather, smell of beeswax and sun. Choose the large polish, number 1, rectangular, horsehair, maple. Granddad cut and smoothed the wood, fitted a toolbox to hold the set, slanted footbed for handle, and those quick necessary touch-ups with cotton wool, a snap of the cloth. Ka-cha, ka-cha. Reflection blooms subtle in the leather. Reinsert the laces, insert shoe trees, line up the pairs. There. 10 steps down and a turn. Enter the laundry room. Hoses like elephant trunks drape into 2 large white enamel tubs, siphon and return for the wringer washer. Lined up on the shelf with plunger, scrum board, sunlight soap bar. Twin lines of heavy cord lace the joists overhead for winter drying. Sock stretchers and the clothespin bag made from grandma's chintz curtains hang on a nail by the furnace. The stairs turn at the bottom. You fell there once, spilling laundry. I heard you crying. Damn, damn, damn. My mother was a snowy owl, which means we had to do our housekeeping badges early and to be exemplary. We learned to shine the bathroom mirror and taps, rinse the cleaning power residue from the tub, wax and buff wood floors so you could sock skate on them, pass the white glove test for dusting. Polish silver and brass. In training, we pressed tea towels, pillow slips, and aprons, graduated to dampen tablecloths, embroidered linens, and finally, Daddy's dress shirts. You start to iron a shirt at the back of the collar. This is the truth. Then the front, shoulders, yoke, cuffs and sleeves, front and back, before ever approaching the body. Touch up plackets and pockets last. Hang to release the steam. The badge is a tiny embroidered house on a black background. You can't see the inside. Daddy says we have to get an electric dryer. Grandma has arthritis. We're going to save your hands. Behind the stairs, the iron board is set up in front of the chest freezer, which holds half a cow, a dozen chickens, and some venison and ground moose we traded from the savages last hunt. The pantry shelves Daddy built of 2x4 uprights and sanded 1-inch planks are a library of the past season. Pints and half pints of tomatoes, sweet and dill pickles and chutney, quarts of peaches, pears, and plums put up in syrup, and a whole shelf of sauces, then tins, and below that baskets of spuds and carrots and apples and netted bags of onions. We're ready.